We are live in New York, and up today, I am thrilled to welcome to the Speed to Culture podcast, Jill Cress, who is a Chief Marketing and Experience Officer at H&R Block. You may remember Jill is back with us in May 2024, and a lot, I'm sure, has happened in Jill's world. Jill, it's so great to see you.
Great to see you too, Matt.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. So start of the year, 2025, and for you at H&R Block, that means one thing, prep for tax season.
We are in it. It's go time. It's our Super Bowl. It's the quarter for us.
So walk me through what that means for your organization in terms of how you plan, how this year is different than past years, given all the changes that we've seen, both a new administration coming in, which obviously has looming changes in tax law, as well as all the evolution we see in AI in 2024. What does that mean for your business as you plan for this year?
Yeah, it's such a fascinating category as someone who is a marketer. 150 million Americans must take an action by a certain date. And that's a really interesting dynamic. I've spent years working at financial services at MasterCard and Venmo. No one has to download the Venmo app, right? Every American who has to pay taxes has to do it by April 15th. So it's a really fascinating sprint from January 1st to April 15th to reintroduce the brand into the category and to capture as much demand as we possibly can by bringing the work that we do grounded in our purpose, which is to provide help and inspire confidence around this really daunting and, dare I say, taxing moment for most Americans. And so many people will ask me, well, do you just turn out the lights and go home in April or May and wait for tax season to fire up? It's not like that anymore. Maybe it was back in the day. We've been at this for 70 years, but it really is understanding who is the audience, how do we compete, how do we bring our differentiation to life, and how do we really think about that through the lens of the experiences that we provide in tax season to make sure that we're ready when it starts.
Now, given the legacy and history of the H&R Block brand, how much of your go-to-market strategy in the period between January and April is just about top-of-mind awareness versus driving promotional activity to get consumers to drive more engagement, to make sure that you're capturing data or action to ultimately drive growth and new people into the portfolio? Yeah,
get people into the brand. So we're in a fortunate position in that awareness is really high.
Yeah.
Most people know of H&R Block. We have a little bit of a challenge in that many people associate H&R Block with our very extensive retail location. We've got 9,000 locations and 60,000 humans who provide expertise to Americans around this moment. And so a lot of what we think about is, you mentioned AI. What is the role of AI in the experience in making our experience more digital, thinking about the transformation that plays out there? And so we really try to understand, who is our audience and what matters to them. For many Americans, time and convenience, ease really matters. So really leaning into those things, price, value, expertise. It is, as I said, a very daunting moment for many Americans, and they want to make sure they get their best possible outcome. I'd love to just hit on how we think about those customers through the lens of the experience that we design. And that's really what we're working on, is how can we understand the audience and what jobs we're doing for them. And so there are 150 million Americans that pay taxes every year. About half of those want to do it themselves. And it's interesting to understand why. Generally, it's because they feel that no one is going to care more about